While in the pod cave. And welcome back to another edition of the Podmen. I'm Brad.
I'm Brian.
I'm Podman Ron.
Back again at it, and we were just talking in the green room, and still not a whole lot to talk about there. We got a little bit of nerd news out there, and another death to mourn over, but still a relatively dry season for the Podmen.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's not much coming out so far.
Again, this could signal, again, is this the signal of the end of nerd culture being cool when there's kind of nothing really to talk about? And the things that we do have to talk about aren't that exciting.
Well, I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, we can talk about Picard again. I mean, there you go.
We can lament Picard again.
The latest terrible episode of Picard, but, you want to talk about nerd stuff.
I guess we do, but before we get into that, we do have a little bit of news. And Brian, over the news front, I guess the biggest news of the week, actually the most recent news as of this recording, is we get a trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder, and we kind of. I think maybe there was a forewarning of it that it would be real imminent, but it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's the longest. We waited a long time. I think the Spider-Man trailer was released 93 days before the movie, and we're inside of 90 days of Thor. So people were kind of freaking out. And this isn't really a trailer; it's a teaser.
Yeah,
it doesn't. Yeah. It's only 90 seconds, I think. But, yeah, I mean, we see some stuff, but, not a lot of context. Apparently he's, we see a training montage. We see him hanging out with the Ravagers. And then we see, he questioning his place in the world. And then we see Jane Foster as Thor at the end of the trailer.
And so, Podman Ryan, good enough to whet your appetite for more wacky cosmic humor from Thor?
Actually, it was. I actually enjoyed this trailer a lot. Wow. This Taki Wakido, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah,
what is it?
Toddy Whitey.
Toddy Whitey. So, yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. The addition to the Guardians of the Galaxy in it. I mean, even though I'm sure it's only going to be like the first 30 minutes they're going to be in it, if that, right. At the very beginning. But, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this movie, which I always have been ever since they've announced it. I mean, with that director, you can't go wrong. And the kind of humor spin that they put on Thor in the last few movies and with his last movie with Ragnarok, yeah, this is going to be a good movie, I think.
All right. Everybody loved Ragnarok. I just wonder from this 90-second teaser that we got, is it a little bit... Do they lean too much into the humor part of it?
Essentially, it's just, Sweet Child of Mine.
Right.
So, it's just, so there's not a lot of dialogue because it's just playing GNR the whole time.
Right.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be good, but this is definitely going to be that less is more. You're not going to find out too much from these trailers. And maybe that's the Marvel formula now is, now it's going from, this movie is going to lead into the next movie, and so you can't miss this. You can't miss Black Panther because it might have something to do with the big overall universe, right? That sort of thing. Now maybe it's more of a, we're really not going to tell you what the movie's about until you show up, and pay for the ticket.
Right.
So
might not be a bad approach.
Well, also you got to think that I don't know how much of the source material they will follow, but. The whole Jane Foster story about why she becomes Thor is like kind of tragic there for a while because, in the spoilers and the comic book, she has cancer. There. And that's why that's one of the reasons she becomes Thor. So I think that may balance out the humor a little bit. That's always a downer.
Yeah,
that's always a downer.
Always.
I don't know. I bet that hits the cutting room floor.
You think
I
so?
don't
You
know.
don't think to do with the cancer stuff?
Yeah, I got a feeling that stuff won't be in the film.
All right,
So.
look at this already causing a little controversy here between the pod men.
Oh, we did see that the hammer is shattered,
Put
right?
back together, yeah.
And Hasbro Pulse is already, I guess, taking pre-orders on the new Legends Ultimate Hammer, which looks pretty cool. It looks just like the old hammer. It's got all these veins, and when it lights up, the thunder can be seen through through all the cracks.
There you go.
That's how.
Yeah.
You can add that to your Nerdatorium there, Podman Ron.
And I will.
I will order a Thor cracked hammer. What else? It feels like we had a few other news announcements.
We've got, which is probably going to be the end of the Fantastic Beasts franchise. It made 41 million over the weekend.
Good riddance to it, right?
The lowest box office opening for any of the Harry Potter films.
So that's put a fork in that is done.
Well, internationally it made like 195 or something like that. So they're saying it could have been worse.
Yeah, but that's pretty good.
But not much.
The last movie it cost $200 million to make. And what's interesting about it all is you've got now in the cancel culture universe we're in, you've got half the audience, not half, but there's a chunk of the audience that's refusing to go see it because of J.K. Rowling and her stance on transgender, right? And then the other half, or there's another chunk that's boycotting it because Johnny Depp got fired. So
everybody's mad and taking it out on Harry Potter.
Movies to begin with.
Right.
That's beyond just. If you don't care about either of those two things, they still aren't great movies.
Yeah, it's still not worth seeing. I mean, I saw that first one and couldn't care less about it. But again, I probably, if I'm being honest with the audience, and I know they want me to be, I saw one movie in the theaters, one Harry Potter movie, and I think I've seen the first one, but that's it. So I'm not the big Harry Potter guy. I don't care for the franchise.
It's a good franchise. This part of the franchise is nothing good at all. Alex went and saw it, and he said to call him, and he'll join us.
All right. Well, we'll try to.
Brian, did you guys see Fantastic Beasts?
No,
of course not.
No.
Don't act
they
like
got
that.
me twice.
So what?
They got me twice. I'm done.
Alex said this was probably the best of the three, but
wow. I mean, it's been a while since we've had quite a glowing review from Absolute Alex to say this was the best of the movies.
He did a glorious one, but there's his.
There he is.
What's up, buddy?
Hi.
Where you at?
Oh, he forgot how to work a microphone. It's been a while for him.
Where am I
Give him a chance.
Or a camera.
Well,
What's wrong?
or a barber. I mean, Alex has changed a lot since the last time he's been on the podcast. Let's say it.
Talk about Fantastic Beasts. You want to?
Oh, we're recording right now? Oh, no.
Yes, we are. We're not at the movie review section quite yet, but we understand you are the only podman to have seen the new movie.
I've seen Morbius. I've seen Fantastic Beasts.
Wow.
I've seen it all.
Ooh.
I've seen
it. Fantastic Beasts.
And now we know why you haven't been on the podcast. You've been too busy actually watching movies.
Yeah, I've been doing my homework. I've been just over-preparing for my return.
Well, I apologize for you having to see these movies. We do want to hear about that. The other thing that was in the news that I know that you guys really enjoy talking about, of course, is Bosch. Bosch has made it into the headlines again, quite again.
Oh.
Yeah, we got a Bosch Legacy trailer, and they renamed IMDb TV to Amazon Freevee
or something like that.
Yeah, so it's going to be the free version of Amazon Prime. But and their flagship program is going to be Legacy.
Wow. I mean, that is a headliner event right there.
So bad. I cannot. I mean, we've got to MST 3000 this. We have to have a Bosch. We look at it this way: we'd be the only Bosch podcast out there.
Yeah, we've kind of rebranded and refocused ourselves, Alex, since you've been gone. I've had a hard time holding these boys back from Bosch, and I finally just had to succumb to it.
Bosch,
the Bosch-centric show.
Yeah, it's kind of bad.
We would have the best time if we just reviewed Bosch episodes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, Bosch is coming back.
There's our tag. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Is that what Bosch says, or the chief?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Talking about Bosch coming back, Curb Your Enthusiasm is coming back as well for yet another season. And Podman Ron, I know you're one of these folks that's kind of like, yeah, you should have called it quits a few seasons ago.
Yeah, absolutely. They should have, after the New York season, that should have been it. The New York season, done. That was it. Should have been the swan song, but man, they keep, God, I don't know. Larry David he's just not funny anymore. I don't know what.
It's kind of, I mean, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
I mean, you know what? And sometimes you ever wonder if it's like, okay, did my taste change? Has he always just been this bad? And I just
good question.
Out of it. So I go back and watch the old ones, and I love the old ones. They're great. I mean, they're hilarious. And then once him and Cheryl get a divorce,
it starts going downhill.
He goes to New York. That's the bet. That was it right there. It should have ended. The Seinfeld episodes, the reunion, that was good. The New York episodes, that was good. That should have been it. And now it's just like, oh my God, please put this out of their misery. I mean, just stop. It is terrible.
He says he's got one more in him, so we'll see what he says.
Considering he's had 10 seasons of Seinfeld,
he only did 7 seasons.
Right.
Was it 11 seasons of Seinfeld?
He did 9 seasons of Seinfeld, but Larry David is only on board for 7.
Okay, so he did 7 seasons of Seinfeld, and he's done 10 seasons of Curb, and he's reusing, ideas. Now he's reusing ideas from early seasons of Curb.
He really is. He really is. It's like...
I wonder if if it's just a scam, like HBO Max, writes him a check. He doesn't realize what it is. He accidentally deposits it, and now he's committed to another.
Now he's got to do it. Yeah.
I really think that he just don't give a shit. He's just like, hey, is these motherfuckers going to continue to pay me?
Might as well do something. Yeah.
That's true. He is just basically portraying himself. So it could just be, documentary. It's just him walking around doing the things that he would normally do.
Why not? I mean, I can't fault the man for just getting paid for this crap. It's going to pay him for it.
It's your fault for watching.
That's true. Well, he may not do it much longer. He may not watch this season.
Well, here's the thing. We've already lost Funkhauser.
Yeah.
Do you think Richard Lewis is going to make it?
Yeah, Richard Lewis. Maybe that's what they're waiting for, is a Richard Lewis funeral episode.
I don't like watching Richard Lewis on the show. He's just so creepy and old and just gross.
Old people are gross.
He does look a bit like the Crypt Keeper.
He's getting worse and worse.
And Larry's not looking too good either. I mean, he's looking pretty skinny and old and gross, right?
Like, stop.
I can't wait till I get to be old and gross and skinny like that. All right, the other thing as far as new seasons go, we've got an end trailer. New trailer for Stranger Things Season 4.
Yeah.
You know what?
I didn't watch it.
I watch it, the trailer, to be honest with you. I enjoyed Stranger Things. I like the last season was really good, but it's been too long. I've just kind of lost interest in it. I'm sure I'll eventually get around to watching Season 4 when it comes out, but...
It's been too long. Don't want to go back to Hawkins. Alex, I mean, these folks, I think somehow or another, they're as old as you are now, the kids. I don't know how that happened, but I think they're as old as you are.
I feel like they're older than me. They just look like
maybe.
Like, it's just, I honestly kind of forgot Stranger Things existed, and then my girlfriend was like, "Did you see there's a new trailer?" And I went, "Oh, okay."
We all kind of forgot it existed. What's the point?
What's the point, indeed? I like it. I like that. That's a good name for the podcast as well. Hey, has anybody? I thought about asking. I don't know. A while back, I can much like Stranger Things. I keep forgetting about. Has anybody tried the Netflix games?
I've never even heard.
Well, on your iPad, if you open up Netflix, you'll have a list of video games for your iPad that you can play. You can download from the App Store and play as part of your subscription. And we talked about this quite a while ago when Netflix announced it. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. You'll have, just like Apple Arcade, you pay a monthly bill and you get access to all these games.
Netflix have Netflix games? No?
Yeah, it's on your mobile devices, though. It's nothing. I don't think they have it for other than interactive stuff. They don't have it for your, Apple TV or whatever.
All right.
Brian, have you played any of those?
I have not. It's because I don't really watch Netflix on my TV. I didn't realize it was out there yet.
Give it a
so
shot.
We knew it was coming, but I didn't realize it had launched.
It had launched very quietly. Yeah, so there you go. Nothing exciting there. All right, so.
I mean, is it good, or is it worth it?
No, it's not. I mean, they're all goofy
mobile
games. Yeah, they're all mobile-y games. So they're, quick in and out type games. Nothing fantastic, but again, kind of interesting. All right, since we do have some movie reviews, and certainly we want to hear from Alex, should we just move over to the saddest part of the show, the in memoriam?
Yes, let's do that.
All right, we had two folks leave us since the last recording. Number one, Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, yeah.
And Podman Ron, as always, Brian is on the obit watch, and I think you first let us know that this occurred. And I think Podman Ron's first question was he the asshole?
I did. I got him confused with the, what's the guy's name?
John Lovitz.
John Lovitz. I got the two confused because I always hear John Lovitz look like a really dickhead. He's like a real asshole. And so I thought it was Gilbert Gottfried was the asshole.
No, Gilbert Gottfried. Brian, was he a beloved comedian, you think?
Well, do you remember he had this, he was, I don't know about beloved.
Tolerated?
He was tolerated. If this was the 60s and 70s, he'd been center square a bunch. He would have been, on Match Game, right? But he was that type of celebrity, that weird sort of Rip Taylor sort of celebrity that didn't necessarily fit past the mid 90s. So he just did voiceover work, and then he had the big scandal because he made the joke about was it Katrina?
No, it was the.
The hurricane. It was the tsunami.
Tsunami, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't joke about tsunamis.
What was the joke?
Something about there'll be another one floating by in a minute or something. Like there's a. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't very funny.
It was quite unsavory and not funny.
So.
Well, he's also known for the 9/11 joke that he said like a few months after 9/11 was I can't think of what it was.
See, Alex, this is what has happened since you've been gone.
It's gone to shit.
Here it is. I'm gonna read it.
All right, read it.
I don't think about beforehand. I said I have to leave early tonight. I have a flight to California. I can't get a direct flight. They said I have to stop at the Empire State Building first. That was like 2 weeks after 9/11.
Well, we're really honoring Gilbert Gottfried with all of his highlights.
Yeah, these are kind of all the miserable fuck things he's did, but yeah. But, we should just leave it at he was tolerated comedian. Gilbert Gottfried has died at 67.
But maybe he was the asshole.
Maybe he was. I think on Amazon Prime, maybe, I'm sure it's other places, I think there is a documentary, Gottfried, out on him that's supposed to be kind of him in a normal light where he's not the caricature that he portrayed. But check
What?
that out.
The jokes, folks.
Those are the jokes. Well, speaking,
I like the dark humor.
yeah. Well, speaking of jokes, one of our favorite shows, Seinfeld, lost another of the Seinfeld parents.
I cannot believe this.
You cannot believe.
It's too soon.
After Mama Costanza dies,
Yeah.
Mama Seinfeld dies.
Yeah, too soon. At the ripe old age of 93.
Same age as Mama Costanza.
Yeah, weird. Liz Sheraton and who did we keep saying? Estelle Getty. Who did we keep saying last episode?
Still good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kept saying Estelle Getty.
What's her name?
Estelle something. Starts with a W.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she
Estelle
will be
Harris.
remembered for a week.
It was Estelle Harris.
Harris. All right. We remember them well.
But
Anyway.
Liz Sheridan, what I found interesting about her was she was engaged to James Dean.
Wow.
Did not know that.
She must have been a hot little number back in the 50s.
Back in the 50s, man. She engaged to James Dean, man. That's pretty fucked up.
That is fucked up. She went from that to this.
I didn't do that back in the we were enjoying her all the Seinfeld.
Yeah.
If we want to loop back for a quick second,
Oh my
I've
gosh.
got the two jokes.
Okay,
Japanese
let's hear
jokes
the joke.
that Gilbert Godfrey said that got him canceled.
Back to our Gilbert Godfrey tribute.
Yeah, our tribute of jokes in poor taste. So it was after the Japanese the tsunami in Japan in 2011. He said, this was in like hours of the tsunami. Like it was still like the death toll was still rising when he told these jokes. Japan
Like the
is
water.
really advanced. They don't go to the beach comes to them.
Okay.
And then this was the worst one. I just split up with my girlfriend, but like the Japanese say, there'll be another one floating by any minute now.
Ah.
Yeah, those not. I'm all for dark humor. Don't get me wrong, but neither one of those is that funny.
Wow.
So, yeah.
But that got him fired from being the
Aflac duck.
Affleck duck. Yeah. So
All right. Well,
I don't know if it was the poor taste or just the bad joke itself.
you shouldn't be telling the jokes if they ain't no
They were a
good.
little bit more funnier. He wouldn't have been fired.
Well, he surely will be missed.
He will be missed along with Liz
Not as-
Sheridan.
Not as much as Mama Seinfeld though.
Yeah, Mama Seinfeld. Too bad. All right. Well, hey, let's move over to the movie review do we save Morbius for a retro review? We never did an official review, so should we review Morbius now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's go to the movies. And Alex, this is your segment. You're the one that's seen the Morbius as well as the Fantastic Beasts 3 or whatever it is.
Both of these?
Why not? Give us a quick dissertation. Morbius. Let's start with that since that's a little bit older.
Morbius.
I think that everybody by now who would have wanted to see it has seen it. But Jared Leto plays a doctor who has a disease that he thinks can be cured by bats. He injects himself with a serum, and he becomes Morbius. So that's the setup, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, tell us about it. Give us a little bit deeper insight into why this is not the best Marvel movie ever.
Well, Brad, your synopsis is about all I know after walking out of Morbius.
You didn't get anything else from it.
No, it doesn't. You don't really. I think Morbius on a whole can be described as
Best movie ever.
Jared Leto's nightmare he had one night. It makes really no sense half the time. I'd say there's about one good scene in the movie, and I'd say the rest is complete garbage. I kid you not when they say there's a line in the movie that I went and saw with a couple of friends, and it stood out to me as one of the worst lines ever written, and it said that the serum is deadly to bats and fatal to humans. That was a line.
Huh.
I don't know the difference between those two things. It just sucked.
Fatal.
Deadly.
What was the? Everybody talks about the post-credit scene. Well, there's two things that people have said that Matt Smith was good,
Or he was as good as he could be, right?
Good as he could.
that Matt Smith was good. He impressed people, although that was the, a cherry on the turd Sunday. But then the post-credit scene. Can you tell us about the post-credit scene?
Yeah, I can try. Was Michael Keaton teleporting into a prison in the same manner the villains teleported out of the universe in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, if that doesn't sound convoluted enough, as comic book people, imagine how general audiences feel. But yeah, Michael Keaton does a yellow glowy teleport into a prison, and you see over some news footage that he's charges because in Morbius' universe, he hasn't committed any crimes.
Ah, that's fun.
That's your first. That's it. No understanding of how he got there. And her second post-credit scene is one of the worst I've ever seen in a movie. Ever. It's the worst scene in the movie, and it's mind-boggling. For some reason, Jared Leto is driving out in the middle of the desert outside of New York. I don't know where there's a desert outside of New York, but there is. And he's driving along.
Who is?
Michael Morbius.
Okay,
Jared
Morbius.
Leto.
All right, the lead character.
Yeah. He's driving out in the middle of the desert outside New York City, and then Vulture and Michael Keaton in the big Vulture suit just comes and swoops down next to him. And Morbius gets out of his car, and he's looking at him, and Vulture goes, I don't really know how I got here. I think we should team up and stop Spider-Man.
Ah.
I don't know.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Somebody got some splaining to do.
I don't know why Vulture is after Spider-Man. That doesn't make any sense. Second off, Morbius doesn't even know who Spider-Man is. He's in a completely different universe. No one knows who Spider-Man is. So, and why would Morbius join this guy? For the last 2 hours, we were told Morbius is a pretty good guy. He doesn't want to kill anybody. So now,
What about the mural of Spider-Man in the alley?
it's not there.
It's not there, even though it was in the trailer?
Yeah, not in the movie. Neither is the Amazing Spider-Man Oscorp building or any of that. Morbius works at Horizon Labs. There's a reference to Venom. That Venom reference from the
Well, that was in the trailer, yeah. He goes, I'm Venom. I'm just kidding. It's Michael Morbius.
Yeah.
That's in the movie. Except the Michael Morbius line isn't in the movie.
So, so that's how it ends, is that Morbius is Morbius a hero, villain, indifferent? Do we know by the end of the movie, before he gets, he encounters with Vulture?
I mean, he's wanted by the police, but for the most part, they tell you, Morbius is a pretty good guy, He may have killed some people on a boat, some boat, but
Dogs.
He didn't know how to be a vampire yet. Now he knows how to be a vampire, so you just gotta trust him. Not a bad guy. He's not evil Matt Smith vampire dude. So trust him.
Okay.
So he's not a bad. He just joins. I'm assuming is what's going to turn into the Sinister Six. And yeah, I hope I never have to see it again, though. CGI was mind-boggling. It was hard to see what was happening. It Morbius, whenever he flies or moves, is like a big cloud of smoke.
Right.
And it's just the final battle is about 5 minutes long. Morbius.
That's good. That's a good thing. They don't drag it on.
And that's pretty much it. That's the movie.
All right. So what do you end up giving this movie?
A 1.
Do you recall what the ratings are, by the way? Do we need to review how you should be?
PMR, can you run us down the ratings again? Can you refresh us in the ratings?
Just the Batman, a 1. If we're going on PMR's rating here.
Exactly.
Pretty sure that's. So I'm going to go with a 1.
All right, a 1, and basically do not advise seeing this movie.
If you want to do some unsupervised drinking, I would suggest it. That's the only reason I made it through the 2 hours. But no sober at all. I would highly go against that idea.
You should not have to go into a movie drunk to be able to enjoy it. That should be part of the rating system.
You can enjoy it if you see it drunk.
And then, and it's not even enjoyable then. All right, so away from vampires over to wizards. And I know nothing, as I said earlier. I've seen a couple of Harry Potters. I've seen one of the Fantastic Beasts movies. So I'm going in kind of blind to all of this stuff, the wizarding world here. Tell us about this new what is it? Not Crimes of Grindelwald. Who is this? What's the name of the movie, Alex?
Secrets of Dumbledore.
And he's got his secrets, right?
Am I the only?
Oh yeah, he does.
Am I the only one who saw this?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh fuck!
Again, we've turned into an all Bosch podcast here, but we'll do a few movie reviews for you.
All Bosch, all the time.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. It's a Dumbledore. If you don't remember the last movie,
And
Johnny Depp plays Geralt Grindelwald, who's an evil witch who, you find out at the end, his whole plan is to stop World War II and the Holocaust from happening, but you're still rooting against him.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty
Trying
good.
to stop the Holocaust. That son of a bitch.
That son of a bitch.
And you still want him to lose. That's how bad of a character he is.
So they don't really defeat him, but they get away in time, and they get this little, basically MacGuffin from Grindelwald, and it's this little thing that has his and Dumbledore's blood in it, and it prohibits them from fighting each other. So now Dumbledore has a little magic thingy, but
Fighting each other.
Yes.
Fight each other if they destroy it. So now Dumbledore has it, but meanwhile, Grindelwald has his secret weapon, which is Miller, infamous Ezra Miller, who he reveals to be a Dumbledore. Albus Dumbledore's long-lost nephew.
Okay.
Ooh.
What?
So that's where we pick up with the secrets of Dumbledore. Basically, the secret of Dumbledore is he's gay. That's pretty much it. Something we've known for years. No, I will give this. This is the best Fantastic Beasts movie out of the three. It's written by the same who wrote the first. I think he wrote 7 out of the 8 of the Harry Potter movies. I think the only one he didn't write was Prisoner of Azkaban. And you can tell there's finally some consistent writing and character choices here. It's structured like a movie. It's not boring. It's constantly entertaining. But it's still a little wonky in the way that all the Fantastic Beasts movies have been.
Yeah.
Plot-wise, you're basically just following Dumbledore has put together a small army of about 6 wizards and 1 muggle, which is Jacob Kowalski, the same muggle you followed through most of this. And he's put together this little crew to do something to distract Grindelwald during a wizard presidential election. Walt is now running for. So forget the whole Nazi Holocaust plot. They kind of threw that out the window, and now Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald is running for president, and that's the movie. It's still fun. I enjoyed it. I think just I didn't try to take it too seriously, and I'm not trying to pick it apart. I just was like, I just want to see some Harry Potter. The highlights definitely, I think, are Jude Law's Dumbledore and Mads Mikkelsen. Both give pretty good performances, and I think Jude Law actually is the presentation of Dumbledore as a whole, as a character on screen. I think he's the best actor to take on the role and the most interesting actor to take on the role. And yeah, it's fine.
I like the half-dead Dumbledore in the first one.
Richard Harris.
Yeah.
What about Catherine Waterston? What's
Who?
I forget her name, but she was she's Queenie's sister.
Oh, Tina.
Tina
is in the movie, but due to her probably speaking out on J.K. Rowling's transphobic tweets, left out of most of the movie. She's not really there. She's in like 2 minutes at the end, and I think she says 3 things, and then she goes to her sister's wedding. And that's pretty much it. She's remarkably cut out of the movie. Yeah.
As we suspected. What about, whose wedding? Is it Queenie's wedding to Jacob Kowalski?
Jacob. That's pretty much, yeah. They don't really explain, they kind of try to explain why she's not there, because I think she got a promotion, and now she's like running the ministry in New York, but you're kind of like, okay.
It's the old Sulu argument. She got promoted out of the movie.
Yeah, there you go. Get rid of him. Promote him.
Sulu always wanted to have his own ship.
That's the way it works in real life.
I think J.K. Rowling stepping away from the script this time around did a benefit. Yeah, but it's still, I mean, it's still just not, it still feels unnecessary, and it still feels unwarranted. It does feel like this is the last Fantastic Beasts movie, like a just Dumbledore-centric movies from now on, because they kind of tie up every Fantastic Beasts cast member, like just tie their stories up and just like, all right, we're done with these guys.
Well, so is Newt's Commander's not really even the main focal point of the film, right?
I guess. And in terms of when the movie's focusing on like Dumbledore's army, it's definitely focusing on Newt the most. And he's still good. Like he's still used as like his animals and all the mystical creatures and all that, and it makes it sense why it's Fantastic Beasts. But like he's not. He is just a supporting to Dumbledore. Like the movie starts with Dumbledore and it ends with Dumbledore. Everyone is supporting his character arc and what he goes through, and he actually does go through a very tragic and beautiful story. It's just not in a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's just an okay movie.
And did they punch up any of the other characters? Like, did they add a Han Solo?
No. They punch up Newt's brother a little bit. He's in there a little bit more, and he has more to do, and they grow out him and Newt's relationship. They do have a new character from the American Ministry. She's great. She talks in a very 20s style voice. I don't remember her name, but she's fun. Everyone's fun. No one's doing a bad job, but it's just kind of like,
it's not a good movie.
It's just because I'm really not wanting to see this film. I'm trying to fill in all the blanks I possibly can off Alex's review.
Yeah,
and I assume the listeners as well. Did they wrap up the Prisoner of Azkaban, Gary Oldman, Sirius Black? Did they wrap up Newt's love interest with Sirius Black's aunt or whatever?
Well, she got killed in the last movie.
Did she?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. They wrapped that up.
They wrapped it up last movie.
I guess evidently they did.
All right.
Yeah, they wrapped that shit up.
And how hard Harry Potter has fallen.
Yeah, it's pretty okay. I liked the movie. I had fun, but the people just thinking it's a waste of time, and it probably is.
All right, so
I enjoyed the first two. I still want to see this because I've seen them all, but this is more an HBO Max viewing unless I can drag myself to the movies.
Catch it in 5 days.
So what?
Catch it in 45 days on HBO Max.
yeah, just wait a little bit. So, what's your rating on this one? What's your advice to the listeners?
Probably a 2.
Okay, slightly better than Morbius.
Had fun with it, but I don't think you got to see it.
Yeah,
Not married.
Wow. Well, we have not missed anything, it doesn't sound like, Alex, by not going to the movies. The Podmen have, maybe we read a few books or something. Maybe we did something with our lives.
Wait a minute, Brad. Brad has actually seen Batman now and can tell us out of all of us who was right. Whose review was right in this?
It's been 45 days since we talked about it. I don't remember what everybody said.
I gave it a 5. I think PMR gave it a 7 out of 5.
No, I gave the 7 to the first hour.
Yeah, he divided it up.
And I gave 3 to the last hour.
And so you rounded it to a
4.
I would I had to break up the viewings a little bit.
to my point.
So that I didn't fall asleep. I guess I would probably give it a 4. There wasn't anything. If I had to say what I didn't like about it, was that
The riddle?
No, I mean that didn't bother me too much either. Although it was, I get what you guys were saying, and even everybody kept reminding Gordon and Batman how dumb they are. Like Penguin said it, and then Riddler's. I mean that weighs on you as well. Having these villains mock you, basically being like, "I thought you were smarter than that," which may, again. The winged rat is either a pigeon or a bat. I mean, those are the two obvious answers, but they kept focusing on the stool pigeon, I guess. No, I was going to say the thing that bothered me most.
Have wings?
Yeah, what? The thing that bothered me most about it was when Batman was not fighting, it feels like he was wading through Jell-O. Like everything he did was in slow motion. When somebody would say something, he would just turn around and look at them in such a slow manner. And I get that, certainly what you guys were saying, that he's the most emo of all Batman. I guess that's all part of it, is emo kids move in slow motion. But I felt like that was just so ridiculous that every time he was on screen and he wasn't fighting, he was just kind of slowly moving around. It was just very...
the whole time.
What's that?
Brooding the whole time.
So that kind of bothered me after 3 hours. But maybe they did that to help punch up the arc. By the end, he realizes maybe I shouldn't be brooding all the time. So I can accept that, but it still bothered me. I like the music, even though to kind of make fun of the composer, it sounds like if somebody would have given an 8-year-old the signal to say, hey, write a Batman theme, that he would just hang out on the left side of the keyboard just playing ding, ding. I thought it was cool, but again, a little simplistic.
All Batman needs.
That's all Batman needs. Everybody else did a fine job on it. The guy that I thought did the best, I like Commissioner Gordon, probably more than any of the other characters, even though...
Everybody else didn't like him, but I liked Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, I thought he did a fine job.
Did you agree that Catwoman, and in all reality, all the other villains were just kind of bland? They just didn't really pop like all previous Batman villains?
No, I mean, the Riddler, I thought they did great with the Riddler, making him more of a serial killer-y type, mental patient and all that kind of stuff. I thought he did good. Again, Penguin, I guess he served his purpose, playing, over-the-top mob boss type guy, but he was sort of, nothing special about him. And same with Catwoman. I don't know if she really did anything there either. I thought it was odd that she evidently kept her nails, her real nails or fake nails, long, but chose to cut holes in the fingertips of her gloves to have her nails exposed, as opposed to having like metal nails, onto the glove. I thought that was an odd choice, but okay. So, pick it apart there. But overall, I would give it another viewing. Again, part of my problem with some of these, it was a much more mature take on Batman, so I probably won't let my 12-year-old see it. But my 15-year-old, if he cares to see it, then I'll let him watch it. But some of the scenes were the shooting and hitting people in the head with the carpet tucker-inner and stuff like that were pretty violent images. So I would say, hey, great for adults, but if you're trying to sell toys, this isn't the movie to do that. Stick with Val Kilmer's Batman for toys.
But I've bought 3 Lego sets on it, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I would say that you're out of the child demographic, though.
We never got Alex's take on it.
Yeah, what's your take on it, Alex?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I think it's the best Batman movie yet.
Best Batman movie ever.
I think it's an incredible take on him. I can't wait to watch it again on HBO Max. I'm really excited to sit through it. I think from a narrative line, I think the script is close to perfect. It can be. I can see people's a bit long, but I love how slow it's willing to go and how methodical it lets its characters be in their actions. Batman, for once, actually has an arc in a movie, which is pretty rare. I'd say in most Batman movies, Batman is pretty much left to the sideline in terms of actually having a character arc and development. And this movie, it's Batman. He doesn't remove the cowl. He is in it 110%, and you see this transformation from vengeance to
hope.
I don't know what the next word would be. What's the cycle of who he's becoming? But you can see him learn that vengeance only breeds more chaos and all that. And it's that's a good arc for someone of this weird nature.
Did you listen to our podcast about?
I did.
No.
So there's a couple things I wanted to get your take on that I saw in the film, and I said on the podcast that you didn't listen to. This is instead of getting a Batman origin story, we kind of got the Bruce Wayne origin story in this movie.
Yeah.
Where the movie starts, Bruce Wayne is effectively dead. He died with his parents. He doesn't want to be Bruce Wayne. He doesn't see the use in Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is just the Bruce Wayne's checking account is funding this, but he is not for all intents and purposes. He's no longer Bruce Wayne. He's just Batman. He's given up Bruce Wayne, and so now the arc is he realizes that he needs to be relatable. He can do more as Bruce Wayne and Batman, and he needs to rekindle that side of himself over the course of the film. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much dead on. I think the thing when people were complaining about him being he didn't have Bruce, he doesn't know how to be Bruce Wayne. It's I think that's kind of the point here is that he doesn't know how to be Bruce Wayne. He has no clue. That's literally, that's legitimately, he's not him. But the movie anticipates this idea of, well, if we did get a sequel, that everything that's happened in the movie does up him having to form this identity. Your parents turn out to be kind of scummy and kind of not cool people. There's some drama of theirs. So it's now Bruce Wayne has to come out of the light. He has to be this guiding figure and reclaim his family's image and craft this new thing. I was that's pretty smart. Pretty smart thing to do.
In the next movie, we get to see he gets to almost play a completely different character now. So and he can really dial up the Bruce Wayne as the opposite of what he established as Batman. So it's almost like he's going to play two entirely different characters in the next movie.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I wasn't. I wasn't a fan of the besmirching of the Waynes. It makes for an interesting storyline and everything, but just I wasn't a fan of that. But more so, I think maybe the mental block that I still had trouble was the costume. It just did not work for me whatsoever, really.
I liked it a lot.
I didn't like the batarang being the symbol. I thought that was
the batarang being the symbol, a one-time use of his head and popped collar. Surprised that Podman Ron likes that.
Collar.
I could not get over his cowl and collar. Yeah,
that was my favorite part.
Obviously, I could have guessed that.
I think the collar was okay to me. One, because I like Gotham by Gaslight, right? And I'm sure they got that from Gotham by Gaslight, images. But two, it makes sense from a standpoint. That was the whole thing with the Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer rubber suits was he couldn't ever turn his head because it's all one molded piece.
Right.
But if you think about layers, he could have the helmet detached from the neck piece of the suit and still have the protection around the neck because of the
get it.
collar.
I'm just saying that the Batfleck suit is so far can't be beaten, in my opinion. Batfleck is still my favorite Batman of all.
Yeah, you even on this one, when you see the eyes, you can see the stitching around the eyes of this costume, which is straight from Gotham by Gaslight as well.
Again, not for me, not my hashtag, not my Batman. So I'll give it a 4. Maybe I'll raise it or lower it on a subsequent viewing. But overall, not my favorite. I will say that over in honor of Easter weekend, that my boys and I watched Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, which I don't think they ever
say Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko. Odin and I did start watching Donnie Darko. We never finished it. But neither one of them had seen The Dark Knight. And so we watched that, which most people say is their favorite Batman movie up until now, maybe. And it just reminded me of that opinions and assholes. Everybody's got one. So everybody loves The Dark Knight for the most part, although Podman Ron says that Joker's performance is not his favorite, right?
It's not the Joker, but yeah, okay.
What's that?
I said it's good.
It's
I
good.
like it, but it's not the way the Joker is in the comics. But
Right.
whatever.
Right. But it reminded me of all the things, I still say that Man of Steel is my favorite superhero movie and everybody, it's horrible, it's horrible. There are so many things to tear apart the Nolan Batman movies, even The Dark Knight, that it's just this is just ridiculous. Why would Two-Face shoot the driver of the car that he's in and see it flip over multiple times? And from a storytelling perspective, it's did Two-Face, is he still in the car? Did he jump out? We have no idea. So that was just when I was watching that with a fresh set of eyes with my kids. I was like, wow, this is kind of not as good as I remember it.
I had the same opinion when I watched it back in December.
Yeah.
I thought the first act of that movie was surprisingly kind of bad.
Kind of bad, right? Yeah.
The opening with the Joker is pretty great, but the rest of it's kind of corny and stupid.
Yeah, but even that, that's it's suspend your,
Well, no, I'm saying that
it's even that Joker, but you know how you would have to time that just right to have your buses go into everything else,
right? And the fact that none of the other bus drivers thought it was odd that one of their buses was pulling out of a bank that it had literally drove through. And no one on the street or anything like that. There was never this seems a little odd. But no, my point being is that
you can pick anything apart.
You can pick anything apart. So you can be mad that Pa Kent said that, man, maybe you should have let those kids die, and be mad that, well, my Batman doesn't care. But you also got to be mad that, The Dark Knight is just as stupid in a lot of ways. That's my point. That's all I'm saying. There are very few perfect movies. Eternal Sunshine and Children of Men are the only ones out there.
And have watched it recently and still love it. So
I thought it was enjoyable, but I saw through fresh eyes. I saw a lot of flaws in that movie. So There you go.
Alex, back to the Batman real quick, and me and Brad kind of mentioned this. I kind of got, and you, as a burgeoning filmmaker yourself, I kind of feel like this movie is almost like the Netflix binge watching equivalent of a film, right?
Yeah.
Like it's lengthy. It almost has chapters to it, right? And it spins off all these additional characters, and it's almost like, and I told Brad when he watch it in like 40 or 35 or 50-minute chunks, but you can almost tell when a chapter's winding down, and you can honestly pause it and be like, okay,
right.
It's almost like you watched a movie, but also like a mini season of a Batman TV show in one film.
It definitely has like a 6-issue comic book volume. It functions. It definitely has a very clear Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. So
Act 4, Act 5.
But inside those acts, it's almost like each act almost had like
some sort of an arc, story arc.
Arcs. It's like it had 3 arcs, or it had multiple arcs inside the total arc of it, which it's got to be a different type of film structuring. The only thing I can even liken it to is kind of like the structuring of The Godfather. Like, where it's either old school filmmaking, the way they structured it, the Natural. I think about like the old 70s, like The Natural, Godfather, stuff like that. The Thing, right? It's kind of like those sort of, like the structure of the film is kind of like those. Again, because it's a 3-hour film, but I think that we may see more films like this in the binge Netflix era of entertainment.
Yeah, I do think I congratulate it on trying something different in the movie structure. In terms of how it was perceived audience, I think the biggest criticism everyone says about the movie is it was too long. It may go against this type of structuring, but for streaming movies, I think there is a success that was, people did find it really compelling, this slower natured, like getting to see chapter by chapter kind of thing. I don't know. I'm hesitant to see whether WB can say, okay, you can make Batman movie, just maybe tighten it up this time around.
Tighten it up.
Yeah.
Make people talk a little louder.
Will be tighter
for old people.
Yeah, probably. I think the next one will be tighter because I think this one was trying to serve multiple purposes. I think it was like, okay, there's an appetite for this. People will be patient with this. Giving them 3-hour Batman movies, it's that whole, too much. Is it, can it really be too much of a good thing? And then, wait a minute, we want to be able to greenlight a Catwoman movie. We want to be able to do a GCPD film. We want to be able to do an Arkham Asylum movie or a TV show. So, like, it's almost half movie, half streaming TV season.
Universe launch.
Yeah, there was to launch this universe.
Yeah,
and really to drive everybody to HBO Max.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the one thing I can say about this movie. I think it did do a good job that they really could launch a universe out of just a Batman universe.
But not a superhero universe.
Not a superhero universe, but a Batman universe with Robin and Nightwing and Catwoman, all those people. But it does not fit in a superhero. It doesn't fit with Superman and any of them people.
I just worry that you could do that, but I'm trying to liken it to something. Maybe the old CW teen angst show, like Dawson's Creek or 90210, going back really old school, to where you're like, oh my God, this is a different type of drama. But then, 2 seasons, 3 seasons later, you're like, oh my God, everybody still the same. It's still like, they can't break out of the mold that made them unique. Yeah. So if you keep on with this, every day's a rainy, dark day in Gotham, I'm going to be less interested in that. And if everybody's moping around and so it's so serious and not, again, not a superhero movie, but a good Gotham, series or whatever, that feels a little bit less sustainable. After a while, you're going to be like, okay, great. Another freak is in Gotham and it's raining and they fight him at night. Who cares?
Maybe I'm one of the few people who are like, make this an entire super. I'd be down because, like you said, it's going to get old and boring after a while just watching a very dark and desolate day in Gotham. I'd be okay with the Superman. I'd be okay with the Wonder Woman. We don't have to make them the exact level of like Greek god, like to Earth. Let's get our small boy Clark Kent. You don't have to make him super powerful. You can just introduce more metahuman type characters. I think it'd still work. No one thought that when we got Iron Man, we'd really be getting Thor and Captain America. And like, how does all this combine?
Right.
I think if you go in the way of, especially the way Warner Brothers likes to do this, of smart business angles, but with really creative driven, you can keep all these franchises feeling separate enough, but the idea of like eventually uniting them in a way, that's an interesting idea creatively, and to bring all these characters together. Like, you can make a Superman movie that's so distinct from Batman, but what would it be like if they met? I think that's pretty cool. Will we get it? I don't know.
I feel like if a Batman movie is going to be, Gotham is frozen in time. Gotham
Right.
is frozen in, it's perpetually going to be gloom and doom and threats and social upheaval and unemployment and it's going to be all of that. It's going to be all of that. But if you want to tell a Batman story against a different backdrop, they've already got like the perfect scenario, and I don't know why they won't greenlight Batman Beyond as a movie or a television show. But it would even be cool if you wanted to, and now there's rumors we may be getting, Ben Affleck back. But if you wanted to like do Superman Henry Cavill, you know what? Give him gray hair and put him in Batman Beyond. Make it Terry McGinnis and give like the legacy characters of all those, and put it in Neo Gotham. I think that would be kick-ass.
If only Brian was running the studio.
If only I was running the studio. But I think it would honestly be too easy to do it. But for whatever reason, they're scared to get away from Bruce Wayne, so we keep rebooting Bruce Wayne. And this was good, but yeah, to your complaint, it's like now if we're going to have this Gotham and the GCPD and an Arkham Asylum show and a Catwoman movie, and it's all built in this one locale, it's this dreary locale. Yeah,
You'll get bored after a while.
Where you've got a Batman story that you can totally flip kind of the expectations on their ear because it's set 30 years in the future from today, from 30 years in our future. I don't know.
Well, let's just hope that the DC movies, they just got to keep their cast out of trouble. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
We'll come back. Alex, one last thing. Did you catch the cameo towards the beginning of the film?
Booster Gold?
Mm-mm.
Who?
The kid that was initiating for the gang.
He's Tim Drake from Titans.
There you go.
Do you think that's Tim Drake in that universe too?
No, I think the little mayor's boy in the red ninja suit at the beginning of the movie is going to be Robin.
Oh.
That's my theory. That's my theory.
Hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm right.
Alex is never wrong. All right, well, there you go. There's your somewhat retro review of The Batman. But he did whisper a lot. He didn't change his voice, but he just whispered a lot.
He whispered.
He whispered a lot. Again, going back to The Dark Knight, some of the
He's a
scenes
low
with Christian Bale as Batman was just, his voice was so bad. I mean, just ridiculous. Who are you? But, all right. Any other movie stuff to talk about?
The Thor trailer. I mean, come on, man.
I thought we talked about that.
We already talked about the Thor trailer.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, about 45 minutes ago.
Sorry.
That's okay. He's excited about it. Look at him.
I am excited about it.
Five Man Ron's excited.
I'll tell you what movie I'm excited for.
Yes.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
That comes out on Friday.
It looks so good.
It's
got like
Cage.
100%.
Yeah, got 100% right now.
All right.
So I've decided to take the kids on a tour of Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage movies.
Yeah, I want to see them, and I'm not going to mention this to them. I just want to see them watch as his psyche slowly degrades.
Yeah.
We're starting with The Rock.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I thought you were going to go back to
Leaving
Valley
Las
Girl and Fast
Valley
Times at Ridgemont High. Was he making
No, we're starting with The Rock.
Cage
Okay.
movie.
Then I'll see if they can. The Rock will be okay. They'll be able to make it. I'm going to see if they can make it through Con Air
Oh, come on. Con Air's the best.
and his accent. Right. Then
Let you be
we'll finish it
smart.
off with Face Off, so
Okay.
they can see his his dementia slowly
see the
setting in.
progression. Vampire's
And if they
Kiss.
make-
That's an old one.
If they can make it through all that, then we'll watch The Wicker Man.
Which I liked. I actually like that movie. It is horrible, but I do like it.
The one where he's in a bear suit.
What's that?
He's in a
The
bear
Beast.
suit. He punches the lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the reason the bear suit, he punches the ladies, and the bees.
Yeah, he's allergic to bees. All right. Well, speaking of allergic to stuff, let's move over to the TV land. So we do have a little Moon Knight to talk about, maybe. All right, Moon Knight. Alex, have you watched any of the Moon Knight?
I've watched it. I've watched all of it so far.
You watched all of them. I fast forwarded through the last episode because I was on the last episode of our podcast. I was a little on the fence of saying that although I loved Moon Knight in the 80s, this is not my Moon Knight, and I'm not as interested in him. So I wasn't going to watch it. Podman Ron says, no, you got to see it to completion. It's only 3 more episodes or whatever. I couldn't watch the whole thing in real time. I had to just fast forward to the end. I mean,
I don't blame you.
no. Tell me what's wrong with this Moon Knight, Alex.
Listen, I think the first 2 episodes are pretty good overall. Visual effects a little wonky, but that's all right. Script-wise, pretty good. 3rd episode, man, I feel like I watched 3 different acts, like 3 different shows all in one. That first act, to me, was unbearable, almost. I thought it was terrible. I was like, I understand you're trying to do Indiana Jones here, but, man, it's so boring, and the setting looks terrible. It looks cheap. The script
Is this when he's in the? I may be getting. Is this when he's with the Council of the Gods? Is that what you're talking about? Was this episode or not?
It looks like The Mummy.
Yeah, that's that episode.
Okay,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Stupid. I don't know why all the gods are from like different parts. All these Egyptian gods are from different parts of the world. I don't understand. I thought that set looked terrible. I thought it didn't make any sense. I was like, these gods kind of suck, and they're just kind of sitting outside doing jack shit. Also, what do they even do? Why did they stop meddling?
When they aren't doing this, what are they doing?
And then we went into a weird, like, carnival situation. I didn't know what the fuck we were looking for, but apparently all it was some pieces of paper that I feel like you could have just found on the internet or something. I don't know. It didn't make any fucking sense. And then, I mean, the fight was cool. And then the, like, cool, like, visual in the sky was pretty good. I liked the whole, like, 3rd act of, like, Mark and Steven kind of reconciling and we're learning to work together. But, like, damn, that's
Painful to get there.
that carnival's whole scene was, I was so confused, and I felt bad because the actor in it obviously suffered a fatal tragedy on a ski resort trip. But
did we cover him in Memorial? Well, never mind.
That was a pretty lackluster appearance and a pretty lackluster segment of the episode. So, yeah, probably the worst one by far.
Wow.
But, I mean, well, it was quite enjoyable, especially as we got towards the end, but I was still like, this is a massive dip in quality, I feel like.
Well, and they've said that Moon Knight's likely not coming back, and Hawkeye isn't coming back, which Hawkeye's been the strongest Marvel MCU.
It is, but still, just let it leave. One season is why. Let's remember him. Remember when he was good. Just leave it at one season. That's fine.
With Moon Knight, to Alex's point, yeah, like all that stuff. It just seemed like we need exposition. We need to explain all these gods. Let's just talk for 10 minutes of this episode and hash things out. But nobody could see anything. The whole point is they had these avatars that were supposed to be their eyes and ears, and
they don't know anything
them what the guy's doing.
They're so bad at their job.
They're
like,
really
what are
bad.
you doing, guys? Like, literally, this guy's trying to resurrect, like, your sister or some shit, and y'all are just like, I believe the non-god guy that, like, got banished and his when he was, a bearer of Khonshu, got kicked out because he was shitty at his job. I'm going to believe him. What?
Well, and so now since Khonshu's gone, Mark Spector doesn't have his powers, so I guess we're not going to see the costume for a bit. And we only have a couple episodes left. And they also hinted at Jake Lockley in this episode. Did you guys pick up on that?
Yeah.
And no one cared.
And no one cared.
No one cares. Podman Ron, they are not making, the rest of the Podmen here are not making a good argument for me to finish this season.
No, I don't know what they're talking about.
Here, I'll say you should finish it. I'm just saying the last episode was just not up to par with what I watched in the first two.
All right. Podman Ron.
My issue is they're just making weird choices. If they're not going to bring it back, and he's not going to, and Moon Knight's not going to roll into the MCU proper,
you wasted my 6 hours.
Why is he not wearing the costume? Like, give us the costume all the time.
Give us the 80s costume. Podman Ron, you're still a Moon fan here.
Actually, I enjoyed the episode. I thought the beginning was strong. I actually liked the beginning more than I liked. I think it kind of got goofy when Moon Knight appeared. Because as Alex said, some of the special effects and some of that was a little wonky and just didn't look great. I mean, his costume was everything just didn't. I didn't like that part. But I thought the first half of the show with Oscar Isaacs playing Mark Spector and being the dominant personality on this episode was really strong. And then with him working with Stephen Grant, the other personality, I thought that worked. I liked it. I liked the interplay between the two. I liked the little Indiana Jones feel to it, the Mummy Indiana Jones feel to it. I thought that worked. I get they're correct in the fact that that whole thing with them going to that guy's, where in the hell it was kind of stupid. The little jousting tournament or whatever it was.
Weird carnival in the middle of Egypt.
Yeah,
silly.
That was kind of
representation.
Yeah, but other than that, I thought the first half of the episode was really strong. Right. So, yeah. I've seen worse. Let me just say that.
I sat through Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Ooh, yeah, it's much better than Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, it's much better than Falcon and Winter Soldier, but this episode felt like the most
Falcon and Winter Soldier of them all.
Yeah, this episode felt like Falcon and Winter Soldier. Weird exposition scenes, weird villain choices. I think all the performances are great. I missed my boy Steven, but I think all the performances are really great. The design looks great, except the show just was like exposition and shitty plots. And it's like, I don't know where that came from. We were going to real high.
And the costume's out of play now.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get the original, the 80s costume now that he has to sew together himself. And
I like the costume, so I'm not gonna.
I mean, the whole the ski mask and plus the extra moon on his hood. You don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need that extra moon up there.
Yeah, I don't know why they got that extra moon on there. Like
he just wants to make everybody. So let me ask you this: Khonshu, who I could look this up, but I refuse. Who is the voice of Khonshu? Is it somebody?
The guy that killed Amadeus.
Oh my God. The guy that killed Amadeus. And everybody knows who you're talking about, but no gay.
is it Abraham?
Might be my favorite part of the show.
Yeah, Abraham. I'm going backwards. Something F. Abraham.
F. Murray Abraham.
F. Murray Abraham. Okay, very good. And so I guess, again, you
But
would
when I said the guy that killed Amadeus, everybody knew.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know who he was. How long has it been since you've seen that? That bears a rewatch, Amadeus, to see if that was any good, really, right?
Yeah, that probably does bear a rewatch.
Maybe, Brian, that maybe Amadeus could fit into your fantastic fictional movies, along with Tombstone and Untouchables, and what was your third one?
The Patriot.
The Patriot, as far as this probably didn't really happen this way, but is a fantastic biopic nonetheless.
Yeah, because he wasn't murdered.
But yeah, so anyway, that's an aside. So why isn't, you would think that Khonshu, it reminded me of when you said this, Alex, Khonshu as an Egyptian god, you think would have some sort of an Egyptian accent or something. But no, he's I don't know. It's all odd.
Yeah, I don't know, especially for the showrunner and like the director and
big time, right?
Yeah, he. I know his last name's D.
You cut out there, but we got you.
Oh, he went on like all these press interviews, like criticizing superhero movies for the Egyptian representation. Meanwhile, this movie seems to be lacking Egyptian representation. Like the main of the Egyptian gods, like his his servant, the god, the human representation of him is like just an old white guy,
right?
An old white guy, and it's like, so when you said Egyptian representation, you mean we'd go to Egypt and we'd have one Egyptian cast member. You're welcome.
Right. And the Egyptian fight, the rooftop fight with the guy with the knives, and he licks the knives. Like, again, you're making a caricature out of these people.
Like, and the writer is Egyptian.
Right.
Like, I'm like, so all this stuff that you claimed, it's like, it just feels like you're just riding on a high horse that you don't really have now.
Well, the carnival thing, that whole scene where they shoot, where it was all that nonsense about the pyramids, and the henchman was African American, and the guy was like European.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why? Like the two characters that were in the Egyptian setting that spend the most time on screen, other than Moon Knight and his soon-to-be ex-wife, were neither Egyptian.
Confusing. Very confusing. All right, Podman Ron. These arguments,
Egyptian representation.
the arguments of me spending the last 2 hours with Moon Knight here, I don't know if it's going to hold up, but we'll see. We'll see. Any other TV? I've got probably more of a what you're looking at, but anything else TV-wise out there that we have to look forward to?
I mean, the only thing I can talk about is Picard.
Oh.
So we could take that last episode because I really don't understand what the hell happened. So he's having a flashback. It's one of these, it's in his mind episodes where he has a flashback. And I guess his mom's crazy and she has mental illness, and
it seems to be the way of things nowadays with Bruce Wayne and Picard, right?
Really? I mean, so yeah, it was kind of a wasted episode, honestly.
It's weird in the era of streaming. We went from 23 episode seasons to 13 episodes to 10 to
sometimes 6,
like 8 or 9.
Picard's
and
like,
they still need filler episodes.
Still got fillers. That's funny, yeah.
and that's a good point. That's a good way to put it. I feel like this episode would have been good if we had 24 episodes this season, just to throw something in there. But we've got 8 episodes of Picard, maybe 10. And this is a character we haven't seen in, 20-something years, 15 years? I mean, it would have been nice to really, I don't know, build up something, what he's been doing, what his next, building to a bigger adventure. But it just seems like we're just going backwards, and it's just terrible. It's not even the past that we want to explore with Picard. I don't care about Picard's. We've never explored that before. He's on death's doorstep as it is. Why would we care about it now? Why don't we
waste your time?
The past 15 years with Picard than what we've, the last 100 years ago with Picard. Anyway, yeah, it was so boring, and it was like, okay, this is just a wasted episode. I mean, it's all about Picard, and then it's got, 7 of 9 and that her girlfriend roaming around looking confused in L.A., and that makes no sense, and it's just, God, it was just awful. And then at the end, the big shocking end is he confronts Guinan again, young Guinan, again in the bar, and the guy who played Dutch in The Shield, who was a Star Trek character in TNG, he comes back into the bar, and he surprises them that he's an FBI agent and arrests Picard. It's an ancestor of somebody. I mean, it's like if I went back in time and I ran into everybody I met was an ancestor of mine, or somebody, if they were Brian's ancestor or Brad's ancestor.
And they all look just like me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. We're all going to look like him. That's what Picard is. It's so bad. Like, what are we doing? I mean, really? I'm waiting to see Picard in drag be his grandmother.
His grandmother. And not disguising his voice whatsoever.
No, I mean, I'm waiting for that to be the next episode. I mean, it's gotten that fucking bad. I mean, or stumble upon Riker, and it's Riker's mom, and it's Riker in drag. I mean, that's how ridiculous this show has gotten. I mean, it was like I've bitched about before because Data's creator's ancestor, was in it. Now Picard's the Romulan chick that Picard's been trying to, bone in his present time. It's turned out her ancestor's the Watcher in the time they're in now. And now we've got this FBI agent, which I'm sure is going to be the ancestor of the person from. It's fucking ridiculous, man. It's like, just stop. Can we just call it?
Just call it right now.
Just quit. Just nah. We're done. We're closing this shop up. So, yeah, it's been disappointing. So, to say the least. If you're gonna, out there, if you're gonna only do 8 to 10 episodes, you're gonna do these short seasons on shows like this. Make sure they count. Don't put in these filler episodes. Don't put in these in their mind episodes, to explore the.
I heard season 3 of Picard is all bottle episodes.
Oh, are they?
Sitting in 10 forward, and they're like, remember that one time? And then they just play an old episode of TNG.
That would be good. They just sit
great.
around, and it'll just come back to present time as if it were commercial breaks. They're like, and then it'll doodle doodle doodle, like, yeah, that was great. And then there was the other time, and doodle doodle doodle.
You know what?
Well, they could do that. They could just do it. They could do a record 3 minutes of new footage. Picard and Riker yucking it up and going, remember that one time? Play a full episode of The Next Generation, and then come back and then just go, ha ha ha, good time.
Good time.
I would prefer that to what we're watching.
Can't believe we made it out alive.
Riker, you son of a bitch.
All right. Alex, are you watching anything other than the wonderful movies you've been reviewing? Any TV for you?
No. I've been playing Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty much it.
All right, quite the range you have there.
Well,
let's go over to what you're looking at real quick. What you looking at? I wanted to touch on something that Brian, you may like. You're a big Stephen Merchant fan, perhaps. But on Amazon is The Outlaws. I think it's written, maybe some of them directed by Stephen Merchant. He's in it, as well as Christopher Walken and a handful of other British people who you've never heard of. But the layup is that there's 5 different characters from 5 different walks of life, and they're all having to do community service together, and their stories that become intertwined and everything. I thought it was going to be a little bit more sitcom-y, and I probably would like a little bit more comedy in it. It had a lot of funny bits in it, but it's more of a serious drama. Police and drug dealers and stuff like that type thing. But it was only 6 episodes. And so I think it's only 6. So it's worth checking out, definitely, is The Outlaws on Amazon Prime. Stephen Merchant and Christopher Walken.
I'm sorry, what's it about?
It is about 5 people who are doing community service together, and they kind of get intertwined in their each other's lives. But there's a underlying, some drug guy is trying to kill one of them and stuff like that, so they all try to band together to help them get out of trouble. But it was just a fun little romp, as Alex would call things, a fun little romp.
All right. Is it 30-minute episodes or an hour?
I think they're 45 minutes. I think they're a little over 30, yeah. So that's my check it out from a TV show. And then I'll just give another throw out to watched it a couple of weeks ago, Titan, something like that. Movie I've only found it on Hulu. French movie about a little girl who's in a car accident and has to have like a plate put in her head. Later on in life, she becomes not a spokesmodel, but a car model for car shows and stuff like that. And strange movie. It's a horror movie, but she ends up having sex with the car and becomes impregnated by the car. And then she goes on a killing spree and shaves her head and breaks her nose to pose as someone's missing son. And the guy comes and gets her, and he knows that it's not his son, but he tells himself mentally that it is. And more murders ensue and stuff like that. And then she gives birth to this like cyborg baby at the end. But there you go. It's called Titan or Titan. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
What is this on? What streaming service?
It's on Hulu. I forgot the director's name, but he also directed Raw, R-A-W, Raw.
Yeah, I know. That's the one where like the co-ed's becomes a cannibal or something.
Yes, yeah, but it's the same director, French director, and that one's a little bit bloody and involves cannibalism and stuff. But that one's worth checking out. That was a little bit more palatable, so to speak.
Titan came out like a couple months ago, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it's relatively new. Yeah, but it's on Hulu. It's the only place you can find it.
Great.
So yeah, you should check it out. It's interesting, not fantastic, but it's interesting. And then that led me going down a Lars von Trier path. Is where I watched Melancholia and Antichrist, and started watching Necrophilia or Necromaniac. What is it? Not Necromaniac. Nymphomaniac.
Nymphomaniac.
Thank you. A little bit different twist there. So if you're a big Lars von Trier fan, definitely go check out Antichrist again. I enjoy it.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, everybody.
The Easter episode that keeps on giving. Alex, what else have you been looking at?
Hey, I watched The Eyes of Tammy Faye the other night.
Enjoy it?
Yeah. As much as you can for watching a movie about not great people.
It has your boy in it. I know you love him.
I do love me some Andrew Garfield. Yeah, he plays pretty much a despicable human being. They all kind of do.
Who does he play?
He plays Jim Baker.
He does play Jim Baker?
He plays Jim Baker.
He looks nothing like Jim Baker.
He does a great job. Him and Jessica Chastain both. I mean, in terms of performances, they're heavy hitting.
Yeah.
It's a fantastically acted movie all around the board. Vincent D'Onofrio being probably the only headline actor in it. It's great. It's super interesting, and the world of televangelism is always fascinating because it is real and it is absolutely insane and interesting and convoluted and has this crazy history that you never can really wrap your head around.
You can never believe that people actually helped build them that empire.
The Broad Water Park.
Brian's part
Alex,
of
do
that.
you know
I do.
my history with PTL?
PMR said that you actually went to the PTL water park.
Twice. The whole
my-
compound. So my grandmother, we said this in the last podcast, my grandmother was such a PTL viewer and donated so much money to PTL. She 3 different times she got week-long vacations for the entire family, like 12 people, at Heritage USA. I went twice, and I got to say, it was posh. It was like the Grand Ole Opry Hotel.
It was worth every penny.
It had an indoor shopping mall, and then they had a huge water park.
Did you see the Jesus show?
I don't think I did.
The Jesus show in the Coliseum or whatever it was?
I may have.
I watched a recording of it the other day, after I watched the movie, and I was like, this is pure insanity.
I remember also they had walking trails that were like Callaway Gardens.
That's wild.
Like these walking trails, these paths, and they would have little areas to sit and pray or whatever, and they had a little chapel back in it and everything. This place was insane. It was just. That's exactly. I mean, it's like Callaway Gardens plus Typhoon Lagoon at Disney World plus the Grand Ole Opry Hotel. That's how big all of this was.
Did you feel closer to Christ after every visit?
Every time I jumped on that water slide.
Here we go.
Was the water holy water? Did they have it freshly pumped?
They went and blessed it.
They had a priest. They had a priest on every slide, blessing 8 hours a day.
It's a good question.
I mean,
they did have this thing. You would jump. There was a cliff, and I've never seen another water park that had this, but it was a cliff that was as a kid, it was this is 50 feet. This is a 50-foot drop. It wasn't a 50-foot drop, but it was probably a 25-foot drop. But you jumped off a cliff, and they had a pond or a pool underneath that was 20, 30 feet deep, so you could jump off, and you kind of like they did in It, right? When they were jumping off into the ravine. But yeah, it was a huge cliff. I've never seen another water park that had this, but you just jumped off the cliff into the water.
A leap of faith.
Leap of faith is right.
But yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. So it's just crazy.
I need to watch Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. It's just, you will just feel, I just felt gross afterwards. Every time they went into their house, I mean, it's just this gold-encrusted, just weird decor, golden giraffes and shit. And you're just what the fuck? And they're having their interpersonal conflicts all in this, like, bedazzled, like, living room, and you're like, I don't care. I don't care that you have these problems in your life and you feel like you're not getting loved by your husband. Maybe the surrounding wealth is the issue. It's just as like, and I think it's the movie's point, but it's like, even when Jessica Chastain won her Oscar, she was like, Tammy Faye was such a lover and such a giver. And so it made me want to watch the movie to see who this inspiring woman was. And then I was like, she's kind of an asshole. She's kind of a piece of shit, just like everyone else. Like, I'm like, okay, like, you and your husband both supported LGBT marriage, but, like, you still stole money from people and invested into things that weren't godly of any kind, and you didn't serve his mission or any of that. So why do I care? Go to prison. Have fun. But, yeah, it's a good movie. Probably I can see why it didn't get nominated for Best Picture, because it's just kind of like, it just kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and I think the first act is a little poor. But other than that, it's a watch.
All right. Well,
3 out of 5. Give it some time.
Give it some time. Podman Ron, anything that you're looking at nowadays?
Nope, just like I said, Picard.
Just bitching about Picard.
Picard.
Well, you need to watch some of these suggestions that we have here. Maybe you won't be disappointed by them. You sound like you're disappointed by Picard.
I may watch that one you were talking about.
Okay. The Outlaws.
The Outlaws. Yeah,
Okay.
I like Steven. So I might give that a shot.
All right, very good. Brian, anything new with you?
Yeah, I'm almost done with season 2 of Righteous Gemstones. So, Alex, as a piggyback to yours, have you watched the Righteous Gemstones?
I watched 2 episodes of season 1, and it made me so uncomfortable. I was like, I'm not going to go any further. I felt so gross after it, and so, I don't know what. I was like, maybe not for me. I think it's funny, but I was like, I just feel so off-put. It was too much. My brain hurt.
That's good.
I felt some of that, but I got past it.
But it is
you
funny.
might be offended
it's
by
so
it, but
funny.
it's good.
It wasn't even offensive. I wasn't offended. I was just like, this is just so rambunctious, and my brain cannot handle, like, just the shit you're throwing at me. So I was like, maybe I'll take a pause. I'll try to come back later.
But now, after watching Eyes of Tammy Faye,
maybe I'll have new.
It's true. In the right mindset to start it again.
True. I may actually be in the right mindset where I like my televangelism. Instead of just dark and depressing.
After you watch that, then maybe you can enjoy some uplifting Hitman comedy with Barry, as Barry returns with season 3 at the end of the month here.
Very excited for Barry season 3.
Better Call Saul final season starts tonight.
All right. What are you doing? Are you missing it now? You better get over there. You may have missed it already.
And why are you listening to this?
Exactly. All right, so we got a few things to watch here. And yeah, well, Alex woke up. Alex, PMR's awake now. He's got a little coffee in him. And Alex, we're glad to have you back. Are we going to have you back on a regular basis? The listeners want to know.
Hey, as long as I'm free, you'll have me.
Oh, okay.
I had a 2-month vacation.
All right.
I'm back now. I'm back. I'm settled.
Okay, good. Well, we're glad to have you back. Podman Ron, anything else to add?
Nope, I think I'm done for tonight.
I think PMR signed off about 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, he's pissed off about the whole Moon Knight. We've got Moon Knight rage. Everybody hates Moon Knight except for PMR.
Y'all shat all over Moon Knight.
Yep, I got nothing else to talk
Shat
about.
all
Then.
over Picard.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't got nothing.
All
Don't have
right.
nothing.
It's been a shit show.
All right. Well, Alex, the main reason I'm glad to have you back. But until next time, Alex.
Save it for the podcast.
Oh my God, that's horrible. That's horrible.
Days.